Welcome to Charlotte, welcome to day 2 of the HCS Major, and welcome to the main stage. My name is Uncertain. This guy here is still known as Bravo. Good to have you here, buddy. How was your evening?
Great evening, great morning. Also great to be back in Charlotte, by the way. Shout out to FaZe Clan and the Pro Shop for all this great merch. Kind of a throwback. I believe Charlotte 2007 was the first event I flew to. It was also the first event I believe I got a event-specific shirt. So this shirt is kind of a cool full circle moment, and this entire event is a full circle moment. And we have interesting series yesterday, and they're getting even spicier today.
Yeah, they certainly are. We've been keeping our eyes split between multiple monitors backstage before we've jumped on main stage here to cast this series, which will be FaZe Clan versus Legion Gaming, just concluding the pool. But the interesting one, I think a lot of people got their eyes on at the moment, is the Optic Mindfreak series. If you're not aware of what's happening over there, Mindfreak went 2-0 up, and then went 1-0 up in game number 3 in an oddball lattice, and now we find ourselves in a game 4 after Optic managed to pull it back. So Green Wall a little bit shaky this morning.
Really, yeah, crazy to see the Green Wall against, as you said, they had to win a must-win round of ball to avoid a 3-0 from Mindfreak. Pretty wild. Questions going to be asked. Now, let's not forget, story-wise, this series here, Optic has, with the exception of SLC, Optic has had terrible pool play struggles, right? So somehow that has reared its head. It's back. You and I were talking about how Salt Lake City was a return to form for Optic Gaming. But maybe they're going to have to work pretty hard. As we said, they're down 1-2 right now, and they will need to reverse sweep to close out that series. By the way, that's on the C-Stream. In case you want to open up an extra tab, or maybe have a second device experience for a fully immersive Halo Championship Series experience. But I'll tell you what, we got to focus now on the main stage. This is going to be FaZe Clan's kind of return to the main stage here. We'll see what they can do. Yeah,
the first time, of course, that we're going to see Legion Gaming on our main stage as well. And a big performance coming through the open bracket for this team. Some familiar names, of course, on this lineup. A lot of people looking at Gunnplexion and finally making it through the open bracket into pools and looking to put off what would be an incredible upset. But if you're coming into pools right now from the open bracket and you're seeing what Mindfreak are doing, probably it gives you quite a huge amount of confidence that you can pull off something similar should you get out to a good start. And going up against FaZe, who looked a little bit up and down yesterday, maybe right for taking it.
We talked a lot about FaZe's games yesterday. I think there was a lot to look at, kind of a lot to be proud of on the FaZe side, but I think also a lot that needed VOD review. We did hear that they did VOD review last night, taking a look at gameplay. And you'd expect that, because I think, not because they necessarily needed to clean things up, I think it's more a point of kind of their commitment to excellence on that team. I don't think there was a need immediately from kind of a glance and even watching the entire series, things where you're like, FaZe doesn't look good. It was more a question of, FaZe has some things they can clean up. How will they come into Saturday?
Yeah, it was interesting talking to SnakeBite last night and kind of picking his brains a little bit about the Luminon series. And I said to him, it felt like neither team wanted to win. He was like, that's literally how it felt for us as well. It's like everyone was just trying to find ways to not win those games. But like you said, they've gone back another VOD review, and we'll have to see if they come into Saturday a little bit sharper than they did yesterday. I think it was kind of the theme for yesterday, wasn't it?
For everyone, yeah.
For everyone. We were looking back on some of the games, watching some of the series that we didn't catch because we were casting, and it just felt like everyone was a little bit rusty, which was a bit of a surprise because we were talking about how many events there's been, money-based events between SLC and here. So hopefully today that rust has been shaken off a little bit by some of these teams, but judging by what we're seeing first thing in the morning here, maybe not the case.
Maybe it's a case of more of that is on the way, which to be honest will keep things very exciting. And I agree, it almost feels like maybe it isn't rust, maybe it's nerves, because I would say in between Halo Infinite events, the LANs and the events that we've had online, between the LVT LAN with Shopify as well as the Jersey Mike Pro-Ams from TSM, it is probably the most paid activity in between events we've had during Infinite. So it's wild to see teams what felt like a bit off of the mark in day number 1, and now we're going to have to see which teams can ice up in day number 2, because it feels like once we get, especially of course at the end of pools, but into bracket play, those slip-ups will not be forgiven. You will be penalized for these pretty heavily if you're not ready for these matches.
I think that you have to keep in mind as well that for a lot of the teams who are coming through the open bracket, and maybe some of the teams that are kind of between the 6 to 12 placements we've seen all year long, probably realize and will realize that this is the last 2 events of Halo Infinite. So it's the last opportunities to cause the upsets, to go on a run, to put in their best performance. So there's going to be some early to bed nights for those teams, up early, doing the VOD review, whatever it might be, and they are going to get to the venue ready to play because they know that those opportunities are going to be limited from now to the end of the year. So it's a tough one. If you're one of the top teams at the moment, it feels like you've really got a target on your back, and if you're not playing at 100%, you're going to suffer.
Yeah, I agree. It really is the big opportunity. I think Mindfreak being a great example of that, but teams realizing, like, wait a second, if the big 3 are a bit off the boil here, we're not at Worlds yet, right, where there will be a certain amount of realization and kind of icing up from the big 3, so I couldn't agree more. This is the time where the teams that have, I think it's the Envies, it's the Complexities, right? It's the TSMs. This is your chance where if you are kind of what we would look at as a tier 2 team currently outside of the big 3, the big 4, this is your chance to make a big statement here, maybe even steal a seed going into Worlds. Big opportunity for them, and we're gonna have to see during the day today which teams are able to seize that opportunity.
Yeah, I think the one outlier to the story that we're trying to kind of explain to everyone right now that we saw yesterday was Shopify Rebellion. They just looked like Shopify Rebellion, the team who has been winning championships ever since SLC, either online or offline. But enough about them. Let's talk about FaZe and Legion Gaming on our screens right now. The first game is underway. We're gonna have a little bit of King of the Hill here on Recharge to start our day off.
I want to thank you once again for joining us here. First hours of the day 2 here at the HCS Charlotte Major by FaZe Clan. Also a big shout out to FaZe for everything they've done. The event looks great. It's been a lot of energy in the room as well. And after an exciting day number 1, we're expecting day 2, as we just mentioned, to deliver in a big way yet again. Just to kind of set the table for this series, as 3 will fall momentarily for FaZe. To set the table here, I think the question is, what version of FaZe do we get in day number 2? How have they kind of improved their gameplay even further from day number 1? And for Legion Gaming, it's a must-win. They must win all their series from here on out if they want to get out of this pool.
And let me tell you, I heard Legion Gaming a few moments ago just before this series. They are fired up for this one. There's all sorts of play calls being made. It is belief in each other, and we'll have to see if that carries through to the games, of course, today. Early on, though, FaZe once again on the back foot. Almost 2/3 of this hill will go into Legion Gaming, and the, shall we say, the spell of this morning seems to be flowing onto our main stage.
Trade comes in here. It's going to be a continued pipe push. I agree. The progress from Legion looks good. And guess what? It's 3 dead. Based on the numbers alone, this hill should go, even though we're going to see a Lucid attempt here. Not over just yet. 3 will fall momentarily for Legion, so they will need to take their time and get a clean reset here. But we should mention also, we hadn't mentioned them in the paragraph we had just gone through, but Legion Gaming, one of those teams, right? These are players who have been grinding this game for a very long time and have earned a lot of respect, and what a statement it would be if they took this series here against FaZe.
They managed to kind of save it in the last second there with that play coming in from Lucid on the battle edge. Just to jump in when he's 1v1, a little bit of help came from the spawners to keep this first hill not captured by Legion Gaming. Now FaZe do have an element of control. Gunnplexion's the only player down on Legion Gaming at the moment. Euzey just waiting a few seconds to see if he can get some teammates to join him. And a couple of big individuals being one good damage. Pznguin last alive, and it's going to be Lil Gatorz who's stabbed in this hill, and Pznguin has to go big. That's a double kill for him. And now we have a race for this hill, and it looks like Legion Gaming might steal this one.
They're going to win it. They're going to get the hill here, and they get the first hill on the board, and I got to say, it's quite an impressive effort to start this one off. Euzey with a very nice nuke combo as well from the bat, so pick that one up. Camo, as you see, bottom middle. 2 dead for each side. SnakeBite looks like he'll be able to get away, and thus with Race gets the kill and the camo pop as well.
Well, that's a wake-up call for FaZe, as if watching some of the other games that's going on wasn't enough of one. Find themselves down by 1 here. Legion Gaming coming out hot, coming out of the gates. Some good damage coming in from Gunnplexion as well on that 1v1. SnakeBite just showing the ice that we saw so many times yesterday, and maybe a few too many times for his liking on a day 1 of a tournament.
Enemy team took the hill.
Couldn't agree more. FaZe now has to get back into this hill, and yesterday, you know, it was pretty wild to see as 3 will fall for Legion Gaming, a momentary 2v1. Gunnplexion going to have to wait for help. Pretty wild to see SnakeBite have to go 23-10 in a 50-48. I can't remember the last time I've seen that at the top level of competitive Halo, and it actually brings more questions than answers for me. And we're going to see if we can get some answers here, but FaZe, so far so good on hill number 2.
Yeah, really buttoned up hill this one coming in from FaZe. SnakeBite's barely had to do any damage. 2 dead still for Legion Gaming. Gunny might try and force this one just to see if he can get SnakeBite out of this hill, but now we're seeing the damage coming from SnakeBite. Now we're seeing him win his individuals. It's a double kill for him, and we have ourselves a tie game.
Yeah, back to business, and guess what? It's SnakeBite who's 11-5, leading the team currently in kills, least deaths, and also only 2 shy of the most assists.
More than double positive, Andy.
Well done.
Thank you. Coffee has been consumed this morning. So FaZe now looking to rotate in towards the turbine hill. It looks like they've actually won the battle of the rotation. SnakeBite now just playing up on the top of the elevator, just looking out on the catwalk, seeing if he can pick off and do damage to any of these spawners from Legion Gaming. But you can see from the setup and the shape that FaZe have, this is an almost perfect setup for them to control.
Yeah, FaZe finding form here. And as is the case with really any King of the Hill, that first hill can be dicey. And we're starting to see that maybe that was just kind of a dicey opening hill, and they've found exactly what they need to do to put the pieces together. It's been a near flawless 3rd hill.
Only 1 player alive here for Legion Gaming, and it looks like they know exactly where he is as well. So FaZe just holding the shape, holding the line. SnakeBite just continuing to output damage at the moment. TriPPPeY finds the first pick as well. And that is going to be FaZe turning this game around in what feels like a matter of moments. It's now 2-1 to FaZe.
They really have, holding their shape, almost Arsenal Football Club-esque in terms of the perfect hold that we just...
You know how to put a smile on my face.
The perfect hold that we just saw. Impressive stuff from FaZe. As you said, a very good bounce back. SnakeBite will eventually fall, but not before going 13-6. And we'll see if they can collapse here, get some more damage.
He's going to try and get away with this camo. Does manage to sneak around the corner, but Lucid should be able to trade that damage out. Pznguin only let down by the capacity of the magazine on his bandit rifle there. SnakeBite now trapped at the back of blue. He's got a couple of players to deal with individually. Finds one though. Great little bit of pre-fire there, just expecting that challenge.
Fade away as well to just, as you say, the pre-fire fading away off of that ledge. Really nicely done. Good micro from SnakeBite. And more importantly, he was the last player alive in that scenario. And look how it has blown the map wide open. If they're able to take out SnakeBite back blue, this is a clean hold. Instead, he has single-handedly picked this setup apart while he waits for spawners.
I mean, there's so much confidence in the way that SnakeBite's playing, the challenging commitment to these fights, knowing that he's not going to be missing many bullets. And now he takes the 1v1 bottom middle. He's going to win it though. However, traded out almost immediately. Little Gay is last alive here for Legion Gaming, and Lucid just taking a few seconds to get those shields back before he steps into this hill.
Man, what a play there. Just sequence of events from SnakeBite to be the last player alive, and the way he even rotated around those kills, his discipline and kind of target prioritization and selection, he isolated the angles, and by the time he comes back out to see stairs, he has tons of help around the tunnel and stacks. It doesn't even matter that he loses that battle.
I think the really interesting thing that you highlighted there as well, he knew what the main priority was, which was actually living long enough for the rest of his teammates to get in position to help him out. And after the work that had been done, so just fantastic all-round play coming in from SnakeBite. It's reflecting in the statistics. He's 17-7. But on this hill, a little bit of life here from Legion Gaming. This one's almost tied up.
Yeah, as you say, his priority was living, and he says, if I have to get some kills in order to do so, then so be it. I will do whatever needs to be done, and he is doing it with style. But look at these shots here. Might be a trip.
Almost was a triple, almost was an overkill, to be honest with you. We see Legion Gaming just completely rips FaZe apart thanks to this shock rifle. And now they stood inside of this hill. For all the good work that FaZe have done recently, there's an opportunity for this hill to go to Legion and find ourselves at 2-2.
Strong push, though. It's a 3-man in long haul, which is going to be tough to fight off. Little Gator's going to do everything he can to stay alive in the back, but the pressure is undoubtedly coming very quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. That shock rifle got inserted into that player. Very, very close range shot coming in from Lucid to clean the player out of the back of blue, but they are making this scrappy still. 3 players now. Jumping into this hill. Legion Gaming want to stack this. They would think they can steal this one away. FaZe are going to have to play this patiently and keep an eye on how much progress is being made.
Lucid holding this angle right around the corner, but the pressure is perfect. And able to pick up, that was 3 dead.
And he got away with the camo. No, he didn't. Pznguin finds the kill onto the camo player as well, so that's going to be a staggered 4 dead coming in for Legion Gaming. FaZe in complete control of the map, and we saw what happened on that Turbine Hill the last time that they were afforded full control and a setup around one of these hills.
First one does fall, though. 3 dead yet again. Last player's on batteries, which really the pressure should be coming in very quickly. Gunnplexion might get to TriPPPeY, but that might not be enough. This one should tick. They don't wait, they don't bait. It's 3-1 here in favor of FaZe.
Good patience, good composure being shown by FaZe, even with the pressure being applied to them from Legion Gaming. Looking across the stats at the moment, it's nothing disappointing really on the FaZe side. Pznguin 16-16, SnakeBite just slowed down a touch, 19-10, although that is harsh. 17-10 for TriPPPeY, by the way.
Don't worry, SnakeBite back double positive.
Okay.
He heard what you said.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's like, don't you talk about me like that. And by the way, Lucid positive with 13 assists, leading the entire lobby. 3 dead yet again for Legion. FaZe has taken control of this game.
60 seconds left in this game as well. I don't think they're interested in trying to capture this hill. It's about keeping Legion Gaming out of it. And if they are able to do so for the next 50 seconds or so, game 1 will be going to FaZe Clan.
Really impressed with FaZe here. I think while you might have had a few questions, yeah, TriPPPeY's just having a blaster out here. Jungle gymming around. You might have had questions after the first hill. I think FaZe has put those to bed in terms of this game, number 1.
So it's just a case of finding these final remaining players here of Legion Gaming, putting them in the death screen. FaZe, after having to kind of deal with a little bit of a wake-up call on that first hill, have looked pretty much in control for the rest of it. A few moments of interest, shall we say, coming in from Legion Gaming. Nice Double kill, almost triple, almost over, although they don't count if you don't get them. And they're making this one a little bit dicey here for FaZe, trying to really extend this game. Game clock, of course, will stop when you're stood inside of that hill, and they've made half of the progress already here, Legion Gaming.
Yeah, with just 18, of course, it's going to require not just a miracle, but then a series of miracles thereafter. But they get a pick, and we'll see if they can just extend this a little further.
2 dead for FaZe. There's a good chance that this one actually will be captured. 2 players stacking the hill. Camo's been picked up as well. That makes it even more difficult.
Okay.
And it's 3 to 2. And we're back to the first hill, which of course Legion Gaming won.
They did. This is going to be really tough with 13 seconds. You think FaZe should just be able to slay, especially with a momentary 3 dead. And Gunnplexion as your last player alive. That really should do it. 5 seconds left.
Yeah, you just saw Gunny just lean back a little bit. I think he knows that maybe this is just too much of an ask here for Legion Gaming to get inside of that hill. FaZe will be able to hold on. FaZe will close out. A 3-2 victory. Legion Gaming, though, once again, throwing that they can show their, throw their weight around, excuse me.
Yeah, impressed with what we saw overall initially, and then I think FaZe just really realized this is exactly what we need to do. Let's take control. Let's play our game, and really impressed there because I think, you know, when we're at this point of the season, you start to really look, take a look at the stats in just a second, you start to really look at really the minor nuance of these teams as we get to Worlds because it really comes down to the details, and I think taking a look at FaZe here once again, it's SnakeBite who actually goes 23 and 14 in the end, double-digit assists across the board for all of FaZe Clan.
All in double positive. Joking, by the way.
Good job.
Everyone on FaZe having a good game. You're looking at the damage coming out of all players. Pznguin with a good game as well. He was a little bit slow yesterday, maybe just waking up a little bit here on Saturday. And when you're looking at the assists, when Lucid's dropping 16, as I look at the wrong column, then usually
it's not your fault.
FaZe are going to be in a pretty good position. It is completely my fault. I read the wrong number.
You know,
I'm happy to take responsibility.
No,
accountability.
You know
is
the columns are swapped in-game versus the post-game challenge report. It's not your fault.
It's irrelevant.
I'm trying to give you all.
I know.
I'm trying to give you all the credit.
I'm one to take responsibility for my own
say
actions.
I'm English.
That's how you get out of anything apparently in the States. But yeah, game 1 looking very, very good for FaZe. But I've got to say, all of our teams that are coming through the open bracket at the moment are really fighting hard. And you can see, you know, you go through game after game after game, series after series after series going through that open bracket. You're going to be coming in today feeling confident because you've essentially spent the entire day winning the previous day, and that is it's a good habit to get into, right? If you're winning games, game after game, you don't go into a series with FaZe thinking, it's going to be one where we're probably going to be knocked out, we're going to lose. You have that kind of winning mentality coming in from the previous day, and you're seeing it in game number 1. You're seeing it from Mindfreak in the series against Optic. Everybody is expecting to win series because that's a pattern you've set for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of, we should give an update. Most of you probably have either the She stream open or I assume LVT is also covering this match because there's not really another match that you'd want to make sure you're tuning into. So I bet all of you have those tabs open, but Optic versus Mindfreak has gone to a Game 5. Optic has started what could be a reverse sweep as they take game number 4, so that will be a Game 5 Slayer to decide how Optic's pool run is remembered here in Charlotte.
I just want to give a shout out to Reese, the amazing photographer. He's taking some beautiful photos of us as well.
Love Reese.
If you don't know Reese, get to know Reese. Great guy. We love Reese.
Every photo you've ever seen comes from either our man Reese or David Sandman, 2 of the best photographers in the game.
Yeah, it's fair to say that, and understandable. And I think we're actually underselling it. Anyway, let's head to what is going to be game number 2. We're going to have a little bit of Slayer action. If you are the underdog team, we love to tell this story because it's true. You have the opportunity in a Slayer to put together a little run here, hit a few big shots, and all of a sudden the series can be tied up at 1-1.
And man, just feels like with the way that FaZe was able to correct the ship there after that first hill, I think just bodes really well for FaZe Clan and FaZe fans, which was had to slowly get into that.
Really well.
That was
you did really well this time.
Big tongue twister potential. Also, that's tough to say. I'm gonna be very careful here. Luckily,
I'm interested to see where this goes.
Our vocal warm-ups have paid off. But what I was gonna say for FaZe Clan fans, they'll be very excited to see what we saw from kind of the correcting of the ship there. They lose that first hill pretty violently because they even had a potential to hold, but then they get broken again. It maybe brought a little bit of worries, but I like what we saw from FaZe. Obviously, the comms were going to be tight to win the game in the fashion that they did. I also want to note, I think it bodes really well for FaZe Clan when Lucid is the player who has the weakest KD but the highest assists. You know what I mean? Because that's not his traditional role. And when we've seen Lucid struggle on teams, it's because he's consistently the outperformer. There was eras of Optic Gaming when Lucid was so heavily dependent upon. And it really didn't, it just didn't work for the team, and there was always an expiration date on when are you not going to get, Lucid firing at 200%? That's going to happen eventually. So instead, the fact that Lucid can just play amazing Halo, amazing support Halo, and then this team is winning games the way that they just did, I think it just sets him up for not just a lot of success, but even a different story, right? It's a different role for him. I think it's amazing.
I agree with you. I think that it shows confidence and trust in your teammates as well, right? Yeah. If you're able to take space, which is something that Lucid, I mean, you look at his playstyle, naturally isn't that kind of player. He's usually someone who follows up on damage and turns damage into double kills, triple kills, right? But if you're willing to step forward and be the frontline player for your team, output damage, survive, you have the trust that your teammates are going to be cleaning up that damage. Yeah. It just unlocks a whole new way for him to play and a whole new way for FaZe to feel comfortable with each other.
Yeah, it really does, and I think it's encouraging to see that. And also, I got to say, the player that's kind of taken the role of just popping off, it feels like each time, at least in the early game, it's SnakeBite. Yeah, he gets, I don't know how, because I thought he was already, arguably the most consistent player in the league and in the big three. But somehow he just continues to set, I think, even higher bars for himself and even higher standards. So I do think that if there's one player on the team that will need to continue performing this way for them to have success here, based on the results we've seen so far, it feels like it's SnakeBite.
Yeah, just to give you a little bit of an update, if you aren't watching, we have a little split screen down here of the games that are going on. Aussie, oi, 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 you're leading in a game 5.
Wow.
21-12 on Origin Slayer. Well, that's going to be some shoeies going down tonight if that series concludes.
I mean, what? Jeez. Yeah, this is.
It might actually be early morning. Well, the Australians don't need to know what time it is for a drink.
Yeah, exactly. Don't need an excuse. This
much
is pretty,
like myself.
This is pretty wild. Yeah, we'll keep one eye on that series and one eye here on the current series that you just saw as we're about to jump into Aqua Slayer and see what game 2 might have in store.
Yeah, Aqua Slayer is an interesting one as well, especially if you're an underdog team, because you can go on those big runs and rolls of kills if you get a 3-4 dead. I think opening strategy, opening moments of this game really important, of course, for the underdog team. You're looking at Legion game. If they get a camo in 45 seconds of that, you get a few kills. You really can put the pressure back on the FaZe, and we saw them winning some individual fights in that previous game as well. So I'd say first 10, 15 seconds is really going to give us a good picture of if FaZe are going to be dominant in this game type and look to go 2-0, or if there's maybe something to be said about the story of this series.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to learn a lot here about FaZe, because if they are able to play this game in a similar fashion where it's like a 50-35 kind of win, or maybe if it's a bit tighter, I'll look more at the play style in this game as we get into the gameplay. But that's my question of how does FaZe kind of continue where they left off in game number 1. We're underway here in game number 2. If you're just joining us, it's FaZe versus Legion. FaZe takes game number 1 pretty comfortably, and they'll look to extend their series lead here in game number 2.
I was going to say, they also take the camo. Lucid's going to get that camo. Should be able to pick up this kill, even with the sprint strafe coming in. And now he's got to be careful that he does get this kill. Does actually manage to do so and convert it, but 4-3. Neutralizing the camo. I've got to say, if you're Legion gaming, you lose a couple of kills in the camo off the start, being down by 1 and taking the camo down, we'll take that every day.
I think you will absolutely. Ooh, it's a very nice team shot there. SnakeBite tries to target prioritize the connector. He's taken down in the end. And Lucid, though, cleans up a little bit of the damage to momentarily keep the game tied. Legion actually answers back, and I agree. Legion is going to be very happy with the way that they've opened this game. Yeah,
another thing to highlight on this particular game type, no power weapons. So no sniper rifles, no shock rifles to worry about in a Slayer, which of course is going to be a huge benefit, you would argue, for FaZe with some of the talent that they have on the team individually. So just relying on the Bandit, Legion Gaming at least have a level footing when it comes to that. TriPPPeY with a nice double kill, cleaning up Gunnplexion bot in the middle. He's going to give a slender 1-kill lead here to FaZe.
It's a great point you bring up. It really does come down to playstyles and preferences there in terms of whether your Slayers have power weapons or not. It's be a full flush, and they clear out the fridge, something you and I have done many, many times before.
Certainly after the spice level, those wings we had last night.
There was something different about those, huh?
I don't know what they're doing up in Charlotte, North Carolina, but let me tell you, someone who orders lemon and herb when I'm at home.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, certainly got the eyebrows raised.
They said that they were hickory smoked, but I think it was a different type of smoke.
Yeah.
And we were not ready.
We were not.
For the smoke.
We got the smoke. 16-14, a 2-kill difference. And Lucid might be going down as well. Wow. Beautiful play here from Euzey to find those 2 FaZe players inside of the gen, and FaZe momentarily 3 dead. And this is what I'm talking about. These are the situations you have to take advantage of. You cannot let these little situations slip through your fingers. Let FaZe get 4 back on the map.
Wow, look at this. This is so much to talk about here about the last passage of play. We'll get into it in a second, but most importantly, it's 3 dead. Lucid, last player alive. Wow. so much to talk about there. The fact that Pznguin tries to cross map to allow the P1 players to push out on Xuzeyy, they're unable to do so. Xuzeyy with the patience. Lucid turns away from what he would have won it as a Pink 1 battle. And it's really good baiting and switching coming in yet again from Legion Gaming. Even though the camo's burned, they're still up 25-16.
Yeah, such a big kill though from TriPPPeY, and now he goes on to turn a big kill into a double kill. 3 dead for Legion Gaming. Took down the camo, now he finds another kill, and I tell you what, TriPPPeY may have just woken up here, because those kills, not all built equal. Some kills are more important than others, and taking down that camo player immediately gives FaZe a route back into this game.
27-19 still, so quite a long way to go. TriPPPeY's last player alive bottom middle again, a little bit of deja vu, and even though they're trying to make this happen, TriPPPeY is able to luckily stay alive with his life, but not before still trailing by 9.
Legion Gaming, by the way, one thing that's really impressed me is how they're just running around the map as twos. They really are being aggressive. There's no second guessing. If we're pushing something, we're committing. We are pushing something. And it's just catching FaZe off guard a little bit here. But great shots again from TriPPPeY, who's just starting to win those individuals. 8 and 7 for him. The slow player in this game, first time this tournament, it feels like it's SnakeBite. 2 and 6 for him. On the other side, Euzey, 10 and 4.
Rare to see. SnakeBite, though, worth noting, 6 assists in the game, so tied for most assists across the entire lobby. So still quite a deficit here at 32-24. And some cheers across the venue because, ladies and gentlemen, Mindfreak has just taken down Optic Gaming in a Game 5. Many of you, as I said, probably had the tab open, but that is an unbelievable result. Optic leaving it too late in not only the entire series as they try the reverse sweep, but also trailing in the late game. Had quite a comeback, but they will lose 50-45. Wow, and if you thought that SLC was going to indicate that things were going to kind of go back to normal.
You beat me to it.
Yeah, that's not the case.
Yeah, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Wow, what a game that is. What a series that is. And like I said before, Aussie. Oi, 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 Optic Gaming. The green wall was kicked by the Kangaroos. Back to our main stage game though, focusing in on Legion Gaming, and they're probably taking some inspiration from that. Still up by 6 in this game too.
I was going to say that right now it's a lower seeded team's battle, it feels like. There's a lot to be excited about and inspired by that's happening in the venue, and maybe Legion Gaming heard those cheers through those headsets and is thinking, wow, something's crazy is going on in this venue. Maybe we can be a part of that as well. They still lead here by 4, but the lead has been narrowed.
SnakeBite just picked up 2. TriPPPeY gets the 3rd. Last player alive is going to be down P1. It's little gatorz just trying to escape, but SnakeBite's going to find that kill as well. So this swinging momentum, once again, started off with a swing of momentum for SnakeBite. Last time we checked in, I think he was 2 and 7. He's now 8 and 9, so he certainly picked up the pace.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, now fully leads the entire lobby in assists. So right back in it, and it's just a 1-kill game. Lucid here certainly with the game in his hands. They could run away with this based on how this camo was played, but it's shut down. Great team shot, Gunnplexion with a kill.
Yeah, great camo eyes initially. Great team shot to follow it up, like you say. So the camo completely negated. FaZe can't make the most of it. SnakeBite finds a kill though. Xuzey's going to find the kill to trade it out. 2-kill advantage here for Legion Gaming. Now this is what you can't recreate if you're Legion Gaming. This is a situation that however many times you play online, however many times you play through the open bracket, when you're on the main stage and you are leading the game going into the final moments, you can't recreate the feeling that you get unless you have been there. 42-42. FaZe have been there, not just many times as players, but yesterday a few times as well.
And here's the question. This is the exact scenario that I'm curious about. How does FaZe play this? How do they ice up and make sure that they close this one out with confidence and not let this game go, series go along any longer than it needs to?
Lucid's got a flank inside of the base here. He's going to get traded out, but TriPPPeY's going to fly in. He's going to find one, and it looks like FaZe have the late game composure once again here. Gunnplexion last alive. It's a 3-kill advantage with just 4 to go for FaZe.
So nicely done. That's a tactical SWAT team breach is what that was. They check the doors, they send them in every single entrance, and they pick off those kills with perfect switching in terms of targets. And just like that, it's 49-44.
Last kills in front of him. TriPPPeY's going to get it, and TriPPPeY ends up going 14 and 9 in that game too. Again, really good moments for Legion Gaming, but just the final moments, as we see so many times in Halo Infinite, that's where the games are won and lost, and it's FaZe Clan who show that ice, which is becoming somewhat of a commodity, it feels like.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that game was just a perfect representation of what I wanted to know about FaZe Clan. You and I talked about this before we got into this series. The big question was, what version of FaZe is coming out today? How does it look different from yesterday? How are they closing out games where they should? And to be honest, they actually didn't have any. They won that game 50-44. They were down by 8 in the 30s. I mean, Legion Gaming lets that game slip out from under their control, and equally on the other side, FaZe Clan shows up. They take back not only the game, but they then end the game with a scoreline that will never be remembered, right? This is now a 6-kill deficit and a Slayer on the main stage. They just, the entire swing in the end, let's not forget, it was 37-30. The outslaying there of 20-6 is crazy in the late game. That's what we just saw to close that out.
Yeah, I mean, you look at one man again. I'm sorry to keep bringing it up, but he keeps doing it, and it's a disservice if we don't talk about it. SnakeBite was, what, 2-7, 2-8, or whatever it was. Next time we check in, he's 8-8, and then all of a sudden he gets a double kill, contributes to the 4th kill of a full team kill, and yeah, before you know it, that's the difference between FaZe being down in the game and almost tying it up, and from there, he ends up positive, if I'm not mistaken.
He ends up positive and the most damage in the game.
Second most damage in the game.
Second most damage, yeah.
Most damage on FaZe, though, so yeah, the boy woke up.
I mean, yeah, and it's just, once again, such a good representation, because at the mid-game, they're going to continue to be put in these scenarios, and while yesterday I don't think we saw complete ice from them, what we just saw here was late-game Slayer. I think a lot of people would have placed the bet at 37-30 that they probably lose the game in the end, even if they get it close again. Instead, they just flip the game on its head, and they're like, okay, let's start trying at the 30-kill mark. It feels like to outslay your opponents 20-6 in the late game is crazy. But that's going to do it for game number 2. FaZe Clan is going to be leading here 2-0. More to come from this series and a lot more from HCS Charlotte right after a break.
Welcome back again, everybody. Shockwaves through the venue, I think, is the only way to kind of summarize the feeling in the room right now. If you're wondering why, one of the biggest upsets that we've seen in the Halo Championship Series, one of the biggest stories for international Halo in quite some time, and that's not even the main stage game that we're covering right now. Mindfreak, excuse me, take a Game 5 against Optic Gaming to give the Aussies a huge win. What a story it's been for those four gentlemen.
Amazing. As also, let's not forget, they were one round in ball away from even 3-0ing, right? So to make sure that they have the composure, and if you caught it, amazing game from them. They didn't let the lead go. They were even leading in the late game, and though Optic had you'd expect them to have a kind of a panic rally at the end, and they did, but not able to bring it back close enough, but Barcode, by the way, 15-9 in a game that they only win.
So back.
A game that they only win by 5.
Back.
So Barcode, I mean, that's a historic result for ANZ, and it just shows you why these teams compete, why these players play, right? There's so much latency to deal with. The longest travel days you could imagine. I'm sure the Mindfreak players, right, they're looking at 31 to 35 hours of travel every LAN each way. Wild. So the grind has paid off for them. It's a historic result for Mindfreak, those players, and all of Australia and New Zealand.
What a story for Barcode as well. I think it's right that we give him just a little bit of a spotlight as we go into a game number 3 on the main stage. Yeah, he almost stepped away, you know, and then came back, joined the Aussie boys, having made a little bit of a name for himself in North America. Now he's here back towards the back end of Halo Infinite, continuing to build his legacy. And I think for ANZ Esports, for Australian Halo, I think it's a huge, huge commendation we have to give to him for what he's done in Halo Infinite. But back to our main stage game now. FaZe up by 2. A little bit of a scare, I would say, in both games, but ultimately coming out on top. 2-0. Legion Gaming have to win this one. They want to stay alive.
All that matters, of course, is the dubs, and also I would say even the way that FaZe has played in these 2 games. I've been really impressed. And even though we're looking at them versus a different opponent in Legion Gaming, of course, in terms of seeds overall and where they sit and will sit in not just pools, but in terms of the overall placing, it's still a lot to be, I think, proud of for FaZe players and fans. They've looked really good in this series so far. The question is, can they do it in 3 games?
3 to the hit for Legion Gaming. SnakeBite's going to move towards that objective. A little bit early time for Legion, but nothing too out of control. He's actually going to move this one back towards the snipe side here. Play ball options for SnakeBite. Should he feel like he's coming under a little bit of pressure? We'll see who gets the first pick, though. It's going to be TriPPPeY with that newly added carbine. Second kill's going to be picked up by FaZe as well, and Xuzey's trying to escape down bottom middle, but you get the feeling with that call out coming from SnakeBite that he should be taken down very soon. That's 3 dead for Legion Gaming, and what is developing into a very strong setup here for FaZe.
Just lasered in as always. SnakeBite with the iconic hat forwards. Can't even see his eyes. All you know is that man is lasered and locked, and they've got a great setup right now. They're going to continue holding, and they've been scoring this entire time. They're doubling the score of their opponent.
Just from Pznguin as well to win his individual. 3 dead, but again here for Legion Gaming. Unfortunately for FaZe, one of the players who was taken down was SnakeBite with that objective, so they're just going to have to take a few seconds to get Pznguin in position to grab a little bit more time here, and having done so, that lead will continue to increase.
So much responsibility on this map, but really of the ball carrier to do exactly what SnakeBite and Pznguin have been doing. It's all about scouting, right? You're just constantly peeking your doorways to see if there's any split spawns, to see where the pressure's coming from. Speaking of, should be a play ball here momentarily. Nicely done. Pznguin doesn't waste any time. It looked like he might have arguably had a bit of extra time, but I love how he immediately play balls because he didn't have that extra second, and that ball will be reset.
Well, Legion Gaming to grab it off the respawn here. Having got the kills, and just showing a good amount of efficiency actually. A flip of the map from what we saw. Team-wise, as FaZe now have to work their way towards that objective. TriPPPeY just trying to find a few angles here to get some damage down, but with one player falling, they want to try and press now. Gunnplexion's going to win a fight, but might be able to force a play ball here. Gunny's also got the repulse, which is going to make this a little bit awkward for TriPPPeY.
Yeah, TriPPPeey, by the way, 10-2 early on, but they just lost the lead here in the round. So surprising to see the way that things have swung now back in the favor of Legion Gaming, despite TriPPPeey being over triple positive. They're 3 dead again.
Really good hold this, coming in from Legion Gaming.
Got it.
Sniper rifle now in the hands of Euzey. See what this young man's got. It comes to the big gun, or big shots, by the sounds of it and by the looks of it.
He's like, move, I got the shot. I need a clean shot. Unbelievable first hit. We'll see if he can do it again. Pressure coming in from essentially both 90-degree angles on this pinch. He's just holding the elbow, and 1 dead for each side. Now they'll lose a second though, so needs to hit a shot here.
Last player alive. Hits the body shot, but it's not going to be good enough. Pznguin's going to grab that odd ball almost immediately as well. It's 4 dead for Legion Gaming, and now SnakeBite, who is holding the objective, now can have a little bit of fun. He's got himself a sniper rifle.
Tell you what, impressive back and forth between them in this game. It's been really fun to watch in terms of just exchanging holds back and forth. Lead changes yet again now as FaZe will go back into lead here at the 53 kill mark, and SnakeBite hitting very important body shots. He's traded out, and they're now 2v2 on the map. We'll see where the ball goes here.
Euzey managed to get the play ball as well, so he's got it out of the setup, resets that ball into a neutral position, and now both teams have to fight for it. But it looks like FaZe may have had a little bit more map control and be pushed up far enough to bring that ball back towards their fellow teammates. So FaZe with the ball in their hands, only a slender lead in this round, but a lead is a lead.
A lead and the QT here, so TriPPPeey's going to have options for quite a while if he needs to rotate back to that mid-map on Donut, and right now just going to hold this angle instead, and is able to just throw the 180, make sure he stays alive. Really nicely done, 3 dead, and it's now another swing in favor of FaZe, but still only up by 11. So despite this good hold and slays, not a ton of points on the board there. They'll need even more to close out the round, and they can't get the ball easily held through window. They'll have to toss and slay yet again.
I feel like the QT has more power on this map than it has any other map in Infinite, just because of how small it is, how tight the angles are. You can really just jump from one fight to the next. You're always going to be involved in multiple engagements that are going down across the map. So locking that down, so important for this team, as of course is this objective, and Gunnplexion now gets the ball in his hands, finds SnakeBite. And with FaZe 2 dead, there's an opportunity if they grab this objective to get into a position where this round might be tied up.
I really agree. Compared to a map like Livefire, 3 dead by the way for FaZe, compared to a map like Livefire, which is just so open, you're limited with your QT. Here, there's so much corners, minutia, little areas to play, and start to really mind game where the push and pressure is going to be coming from, where you want to be really exact with your QT placement. It has paid off so far, but still just a 10-point game. No one able to get control of the back of the base. Finally, 3 fall, might be 4 dead for Legion Gaming momentarily. Would have been good baiting and switching. It is a staggered 4 dead. This should be time for FaZe.
That was a very good illustration of noping it out of a fight. SnakeBite, knowing that you've got the help. That's going to be arriving very, very soon. FaZe with the ball back in their hands, and the lead just starting to increase again. It feels like this late game FaZe play is what is getting them through some of these tight games. Sniper rifle has been picked up by someone though, but Pznguin with the stick does keep the numbers at least far enough away from the oddball for both teams. Xuzey's going to have to hit some shots here with his sniper rifle.
Nice little shoulder he catches there, by the way. Pznguin with that plus 10% boost on the ice to get that stick. Very nicely done. He feels very at home in that type of climate.
Finally going to be taken down. Other body shot's going to be enough, though. Oddball still in the hands of Legion Gaming here. Little gatorz is trying to dodge and dive and weave behind these pillars. Pznguin will get the kill, and it will be the oddball back in the hands of FaZe with Legion 2 dead.
Yeah, this is big. This actually could be the deciding hold if they're able to get the initial damage off of this push as well. Here comes the pressure.
Pznguin with some responsibility to hit some shots with his sniper rifle, at least some bodies. That's going to slow down the push continually. There's one. Whiffs the second, whiffs the third. Now he's going to change to the bandit rifle and work alongside his teammate in a more traditional way to hold off this double man push from Legion.
Yeah, really nicely done, even though the shots don't hit. As you said, the good teamwork, 94 points on the board.
Only 5 to go here, and I don't think anyone is close enough by the looks of things from Legion Gaming to get this oddball out of the hands of SnakeBite. And indeed, that is the case. FaZe will win round number 1, and they're now 1 round away from sweeping the series 3-2-0.
And as you say, such a good distribution of the hard work going in on FaZe. Take a look at TriPPPeY's numbers so far after that first round. He ends it 20 and 12 with 9 assists as well.
So into round number 2 then. FaZe looking to go perfect in pools to win in this game as well. QT is still up. SnakeBite's found himself a cheeky little angle. It felt like Legion Gaming just completely forgot about his position.
It was honestly great timing, like you said. In terms of the meta and the mind game there, we would no longer be checking that exact area on ice, but SnakeBite knew that. And even though they were trying to get cozy and comfortable in window, they get taken down 3 dead. As you say, very good angle, very good even mental game there from SnakeBite to know that those angles would not be checked at that stage of the push.
Oddball in their hands already here, FaZe. SnakeBite hitting body.
Damage.
3! Oh, he's probably frustrated they weren't headshots knowing this man. However, 3 bullets, 3 bodies, you'll take it every day of the week. The question is, can FaZe collapse onto that damage? And it looks like they're doing a good enough job to rotate that oddball away from where this push is coming. Good lead at the start of this round here for FaZe. 16 points already on the board.
Yeah, you're right. SnakeBite would have wanted those, at least one of them to be a headshot. He probably wanted them all 3, as you said, knowing him. But it was a lot of damage, and they couldn't collapse on it, surprisingly. It's still, though, they will get the next hold, and now lead 23-2.
I think we're just going to try and rotate this one away from the pressure. Lucid with the sniper in his hands. That reload scared me because usually if you give him an extra second to fire an extra shot, Lucid's going to connect with a little bit of a blainer. But Legion Gaming have finally got a few numbers on their side here. FaZe had 2 dead, as the oddball will be down. No one able to get control of it, but FaZe again 2 dead. Legion Gaming got to make the most of this opportunity.
Good finish there on Cargo as well. Stays alive long enough. Lucid's last player alive. He wants to get this kill, but nice work. They will eventually take down Lucid for a staggered 4 dead. 2 spawners coming up now.
He's a little bit trapped on the respawn here. Good map pressure coming in from Euzey. Unfortunately, the timing not on his side there. Banks the nade, turns around, and just as he does so, 2 players from FaZe are going to fly towards his position. 3 dead here for Legion Gaming. And even though the game is essentially tied up, FaZe should be able to get this ball back in their hands and get back into a more established lead.
Great spot there for the QT from SnakeBite. Just gives you so many options there. Not only are you retreating to safety, but this QT gives you, of course, options both sides out of the window to just let you really focus your attention wherever it needs to be on the map.
He's looking like a tennis spectator at the moment, SnakeBite. Just kind of looking left, looking right, looking left, just tracking wherever these players are going to be going. Pznguin trying to survive long enough, and the teammate helped to come in, and exactly what he wanted to happen does happen. 3 dead here for Legion Gaming. Pznguin grabs that odd ball, and now they are doubling up on the score of Legion Gaming. FaZe starting to click here.
Yeah, really nicely done. And as we said, there's been times where they've had to see the game come within just a few seconds. They've had to reestablish control, and they continue to do so in a convincing way. Gunnplexion, though, very good shots there. Stays alive bottom middle.
Enemy has the ball.
Lucid just holding his ground, but good communication coming in from Legion Gaming means that he will be cleaned up. That is a blue helmet.
I tell you, you keep SnakeBite near the snow and the ice. Excuse me, you keep Pznguin near the snow and the ice. He hits those sticks. He gets a, I think it's a 10 or 20% auto aim bonus.
TriPPPeY should be able to clean this one up before he does get the opportunity to do so. Lucid will find the kill. And FaZe just starting to really take control now. I think Legion Gaming just starting to get a little bit flustered here, recognizing that the series is on the line in the next few moments for them. A few individual pushes coming in, and FaZe will pick you off every single day of the week.
Love what we're seeing from Trip here. Boy, there's the first. Get the feeling there's more to come.
Ball dropped.
He wants it. He wants it very badly, but he's not going to be able to get it. Switches to the bandit rifle and then makes it happen with the double kill. It's a killing spree here for TriPPPeY. At the moment where FaZe would love to see that. 4 dead for Legion Gaming.
Man.
This could be the game. This could be the series.
What a way to do it. The patience there from TriPPPeY and the entire team to not even drop a single player and get the clean 4 dead. What a way to do it. 3 seconds to go.
Yeah, this is going to be it. This is going to be series. This is going to be game. And this is going to be FaZe perfect in pools. Pool C belongs to the home team here, a 3-0 win over Legion Gaming.
TriPPPeY also drops 29 in that game, and as we said, really a great distribution of the numbers throughout that entire series from FaZe Clan, each player stepping up in different ways across each game. And really impressed with what we saw. I think the FaZe fans in the building, of course many of them here at the FaZe Home Crowd event, will be very happy with what they just saw. And if you ask me, it's not just a convincing win, but it's a return to form for FaZe. I think this is a great momentum builder for them for bracket play.
Yeah, I think everyone is just starting to find a level of comfort in what they're doing. And you're looking at Lucid in that game. We were talking about his assists in the previous game. Well, this one, everything perfect.
Yeah.
16 assists, 25 kills, it's 25 kills, 16 deaths. And I missed the assist there, but it was pretty good as well.
It was. Let's see if I can
Pretty much a perfect game. He had like 7k damage as well.
Don't worry, 13 assists.
13 assists.
Also,
so
yeah,
7k damage is just outstanding.
I mean, huge numbers indeed throughout the entire game, and I just love how we saw them time and time again, even when they were challenged, because I think we did see some good effort coming in from Legion. When they were challenged, when they had to break a hold, when they needed to slow down like we just saw with that base hold, they're able to kind of be dynamic and play any speed that they need to. And really impressed with what we saw. I think it's a change from the form that they were on yesterday. And also, as I said, there's a little bit of an asterisk. It is a different opponent in Legion Gaming. But I think there's a lot to be proud of and a lot of momentum to build for FaZe as they get ready for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Legion Gaming as well. Very impressive from them. You know, coming through the open bracket, it's not easy to jump into the pools on a Saturday morning here and perform in the way that they just did, because there were some really tight games there between the two teams. But it is going to be FaZe Clan who close it out 3-0. We've got more series coming up. We've got Cloud9 versus Legion Gaming, I believe, coming up on the main stage next. So don't go too far. We'll be back in just a few moments.